ॐ दक्षिणस्य समारम्भा शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमा अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ता स्मर्या गुरुपरम्परा श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः परिज्ञानाश्रम श्रीगुरुशङ्कर परिज्ञानाश्रम शङ्कर सद्गुरु केशववामन कृष्ण पाण्डुरङ्ग आनन्द परिज्ञान गुरु सद्यो जात शङ्कर सद्गुरु गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ शुक्लाम्भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये शान्ताकारं भुजगशयनं पद्मनाभं सुरेशं विश्वाधारं गगनसदृशं मेघवर्णं शुभाङ्गं लक्ष्मीकान्तं कमलनयनं योगिहृद्यानगम्यं वन्दे विष्णुं भवभयहरं सर्वलोकैकनाथम्. So we have already gone into the vichara of the Sahasranama, Vishnu Sahasranama vichara. And Bhagavan Shankaracharya, who is writing a bhashyam on Vishnu Sahasranama, gives the interpretation of each name from various angles. Sometimes there are names, the same names with the different meanings. You'll find that. We'll find that there are repetitions of the same names in the Sahasranama, but the two names, the repetition is not merely the same meaning. Bhagwan Shankaracharya says that these two, like Aditya, there may be, the same name may occur twice or thrice. But Bhagwan Shankaracharya gives different meanings in the different contexts. At the same time, there may be more than two namas, but which talk about the same thing, which gives the same meaning. The words are different, the meaning is the same. Sometimes the words are the same, but the meaning given is different. And it doesn't matter. And what Bhagwan Shankaracharya does is, for every nama, he gives the grammatical vyutpatti. Vyutpatti means what? How this particular word came about. From which base, which dhatu, which verbal base it has come. And what are the different meanings that can be got out of each name. Of course, looking at all these things, seeing all the meanings of every name, it's not necessary for us because that's a very, very advanced study. And here, we are not doing the Parayana as an Upasana Vidhi. We are not doing Parayana as a Vidhi here. We are just doing the Sahasranama Stotra Vichara. That is the reason why we did not see the entire Purva Bhaga, which is according to Sampradaya. Those who do the Vishnu Sahasranama Parayana as a Vidhi, as something as an Upasana Vidhi, they chant all the 33 verses of the Purva Bhaga along with the Nyasa and along with all the Dhyana Shlokas. But as I said, we are not taking up Vishnu Sahasranama as an Upasana Vidhi here, but we have taken up Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra Vichara, where we want to see what is the meaning of every name. And ultimately, after having studied Vedanta in the form of so many Prakarana Granthas and the Upanishads in all these 4 years, we have to see one thing, that every name in the Sahasranama is ultimately pointing out to that Brahman. And Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, is represented here as Brahman itself, as Ishvara or Brahman. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan Krishna represents himself as Brahman. He says, Mam Namaskuru, you know, Madhyaji Bhava, do worship me, surrender to me. Here, when Krishna says me, Krishna is not talking here as Mr. Krishna or an individual Jiva. He is talking about himself, Manmana Bhava, Madbhakto Bhava, Madhyaji Bhava, Mam Namaskuru. And when he says Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham Nitya Yuktanam Tesham Nitya Yuktanam Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. All these things Lord Krishna is saying as though, not as though, he's representing himself as Brahman, Krishna being only the manifestation of Brahman. And that is what we will see here also in Vishnu Sahasranama. There may be certain names which are talking about various avatars, talking about various manifestations, various vibhutis or exalted, kind of the exalted things in the Jagat that we see as Lord Vishnu himself. But ultimately, every name points out to Lord Vishnu as nothing but Brahman. Lord Vishnu as nothing but Ishvara or Brahman. And that is what Bhagwan Shankaracharya is wanting to see us see in that ultimately. Though we are seeing Lord Vishnu as a Vishwarupa Ishvara Darshana, ultimately the purpose is to understand that the Swarupam of this Lord Vishnu is nothing other than Brahman, which is my Swarupam. And therefore, Jiva Ishvara Aikyam is something which I should be able to ultimately understand from the Vichara of Vishnu Sahasranam. So we were in the first verse, and we saw in the first verse the 5 words. The fifth word we are taking. And what is this? What is the first verse that we talked about in this? This one, that is Vishwam. The first word was Vishwam. And how did it start? How did this whole thing start here? It started with the. I'm not going to repeat here much, because if every word that I have taken, every nama that I have taken, I go on repeating it, every session, then we'll not be able to finish, because we have to understand the meaning of 1,000 words. So I'll just chant the verse and start with where we had stopped. Om Vishwam Vishnurvashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu Bhuta Krit Bhuta Bhritbhavo Bhutatma Bhuta Bhavanaha. So we finished the 4 words, and now we are in the word Bhutakrit, the 5th nama, Bhutakrit. What is the meaning of Bhutakrit? Bhutakrit means the creator of all beings. The creator of all beings. Bhuta also can mean Panchabhutas. Panchabhutas, that means all the 5 great elements were also created by Lord Vishnu. Here, Lord Vishnu is representing the Srishtikarta, from whom the entire universe came about. So, Bhutakrit means Bhutani Karoti iti Bhutakrit. This is what Bhagwan Shankaracharya says. Bhutani Karoti. And of course, there are other meanings also given. But let us take only one meaning that is given by Bhagwan Shankaracharya in his Bhashya for every word, so that it is easy for us to remember. And when we are chanting Vishnu Sahasranama, we can understand the meaning of what we are chanting, and the phalam for chanting with understanding what it means really gives me greater punya in the form of jnana yogyata prapti. So what is bhutakrit? The one from whom the panchabhutas have been created, or from the one whom all the living beings are created. Bhutani karoti iti bhutakrit. Bhutakrit means the creator of all these beings. So ultimately, the whole universe started from the Panchabhutas. So we can say here, Bhagwan Vishnu is the Jagat Karanam Brahma, Jagat Karanam Ishvara. So he is the Srishti Karaka. In what form? From Bhagwan Vishnu's navel arose Lord Brahma, who actually is the one who is the Srishti Karaka. But then it is Lord Vishnu from whom Chaturmukha Brahma came about, and then the creation started. But ultimately, being Ishvara, being Brahman with Maya, Lord Vishnu is taken as Bhutakrit. The next word in the same verse, the sixth word, totally there are 9 words in this verse. The next word is Bhutabhrit. Bhutabhrit means Bhutani Bibharti, Palayati, Poshayati, iti Bhutabhrit. That means that Lord Vishnu who sustains that which is created by him. See, just creating the world is not enough. Creating the beings is not enough. That Jagat which is created, those beings which are created have to be sustained. So Bhuta Bhrit means Bhutani Bibharti, Palayati, Poshayati, Dharayati. That means what? It is this Lord Vishnu who not only creates the universe but also sustains the universe. Therefore, Lord Vishnu can be taken as the Srishtikaraka and the Sthitikaraka. Srishtikaraka and Sthitikaraka. Naturally, if Lord Vishnu, Brahman or Ishvara is Srishtikaraka and Sthitikaraka, then Lord Vishnu also is Layakaraka, which is going to come later. Rudra Rupena, Lord Vishnu himself becomes the Layakaraka or the resolver of the universe also. Therefore, actually Bhagwan Shankaracharya says, in the fifth word Bhutakrit, you have to take the destroyer or the resolver of the bhutas also. Resolver also. Bhutani karoti also. And then the one who does the layam of this created universe also. But let us remember Bhutakrit as the creator of all the jivas, and Bhutabhrit means the sustainer of the jivas who have been created. Then the next word, seventh word is Bhavaha. Bhavaha means existence. Bhavaha means the being in all these names and forms, all the beings, the ness, the humanness, the animalness, the treeness, the very being or the existence of everything that is created is nothing but Lord Vishnu. Bhavaha. He is the very existence. In the form of existence, Lord Vishnu is available in every creation of His, in every being, in every bhuta, under every name and form. Every name and form in this manifest universe is existing. The easiness of every manifest form in the universe is because of Lord Vishnu. So, Lord Vishnu is the existence in the entire manifest prapancha. Existence and consciousness. Now here, bhavaha means existence and consciousness in living beings, and the very existence in non-living things in the Jagat. So, bhavaha means the very existence. Then the next word comes, the eighth word, bhutatma. Bhuta atma. Here the consciousness comes. That consciousness, that ultimate content of every living being in the form of consciousness is nothing but this Vishnu. Bhavaha means as existence in every being. Bhutatma means the Atma of every being, the consciousness behind every being, what we call as Kshetrajna, what we call as the Antaryami. Bhagwan Vishnu is the very Antaryami. Like Lord Krishna says, I am there in everybody's Hridaya. Ishvara, I exist as consciousness, as Kshetrajna in every being. This is what is being talked about here also in the form of Bhutatma, Bhutanam Atma. The very consciousness or the Atma of every being, every living being. So, bhavaha means the existence, bhutatma means the consciousness. See how whatever we have already studied in all our studies in the last 4 years of our Vedanta study. If you remember the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagwan says, Krishna says, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. Who's this? Who am I? Sarva Bhuta Atma Bhuta Atma. Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma. That is what it is here. Lord Vishnu is nothing but Bhutatma, the very consciousness. That very Antaryami, that Ishvara, that consciousness, because of which every Jiva's body, mind, sense complex is able to function. Like an Upanishad says, Shrotrasya Shrotram Manaso Manoyat, as Antaryami, as that consciousness, Bhutatma, Lord Vishnu is the very Niyamaka, the very Niyanta of the functions of the entire body, mind, sense complex Upadhi. The next, the ninth word. The ninth, that means, see, in this 107 verses, the 1,000 names have to come. So, there are sometimes 9 namas, sometimes 10 namas. So, there are certain variations between anywhere between 8 and 10 namas are there in each stotra. Stotra means in each of the verse that we are saying in Anushtup Chandas, we are reading, we are chanting. There are about 8 to 10 verses. In the first verse, we have 9 words. The last word is Bhuta Bhavanaha. Bhutatma Bhuta Bhavanaha. Again, there is a repetition here. Bhuta Bhavanaha means it is a combination of Bhuta Krit and Bhuta Bhrit. The fifth and the seventh words together. Bhuta Bhavanaha means the one who creates and sustains the entire universe. See here, the meaning is the same, but the words are different. As I told you, sometimes there may be 5, 6 different words meaning the same thing. For example, a word will come Kshetrajna. It's the same thing. Bhavaha, Bhutatma, Bhuta Bhavanaha. The words are different, but the meaning is the same. When we saw Bhuta Krit, Bhuta Bhrit, that is the meaning which is given also Bhuta Bhavanaha. So Bhuta Bhavanaha means the creator of the entire universe and the sustainer of the entire universe. Because creating is not sufficient. The creation has to be sustained for a certain period of time, depending upon the different jivas that are to come and their prarabdha. So the world, the jagat, the creation has to be sustained in such a way that every bhuta, every being born here is able to fulfill and work out the karmas with which all the jivas have come. So ultimately, what is the meaning of all these words, starting from the fifth word, bhutakrit, bhutabhrit, bhavaha, bhutatma, bhutabhavanaha? All these last 5 words of the first verse are talking about Bhagavan Vishnu as the Jagat Karanam Brahma, the cause, the Jagat Karanam, Nimitta Karanam, Upadana Karanam, the material with which the whole universe is made, and also the intelligent cause of the knowledge behind this creation. So these 4 words are talking about Bhagavan Vishnu as the creator, sustainer, resolver of the universe. In other words, Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana Rupena. Upadana Karanam, Nimitta Karanam, the intelligent cause and also the material cause behind this whole universe. And as we know, the cause is the one which sustains the effect. Therefore, the cause is not different from the effect. Bhagwan Vishnu, as the very material cause of this entire universe, pervades the entire universe as Vishnu, Vishwam, Vishwam, Vishnu, Vashatkaram. As the entire Vishwam, this all pervading Vishnu, as the very material cause of this entire Jagat, creates, sustains, protects this entire universe. Jagat Karanatvena Vishwam. So Vishnu is here described as the Jagat Karanam Brahma. Then we go to the second verse here. The second verse again has about 8 to 9 namas. So Putatma Paramatma cha Muktanam Paramagatihi Avyayah Purushah Sakshi Kshetragnoksharayeva cha. So here the words are Putatma, Paramatma, Muktanam Paramagatihi. We will remember all that we have studied in Vedanta. See how Bhagavan Shankara interprets the entire Vishnu Sahasranama from the point of view of whatever Vedanta we have studied already. That is Bhagavan Vishnu as nothing but that Brahman or Ishvara. So Putatma, Paramatma, Muktanam Paramagatihi, Avyayaha, Purushaha, Sakshi, Kshetrajnaha, Aksharayevacha. Have we not described all these as the Swarupa Lakshanam of Atma and Brahman? In all the Upanishads, that 3 Upanishads we have studied, Bhagavad Gita that we have studied, all the Prakarana Granthas that we have studied. Have we not seen this? So here again, Bhagwan Vishnu's Swarupa is described here. Swarupa Lakshanas of Bhagwan Vishnu, which are nothing but Brahma Swarupas. That is what is described here. So let us see what each word means. The first in this, which is the 10th Nama. The 10th Nama in entire 1008. We have come to the 10th. Putatma. What is the meaning of Putatma? Pure. The self which is pure. Atma which is pure. There is absolutely no tainting of this Atma by anything. Putatma. The purest that we can get here. What is the meaning of pure? That which does not have even an iota of matter principle in it. Puta Atma. Puta Atma yasya saha Putatma. This is the meaning Bhagavan Shankara gives. Means what? The one who is ever pure. The one who has no iota of matter principle. Matter is the impure one, because matter is associated with the 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. And those are the impurities in the matter. Whereas Putatma, Bhagwan Vishnu, is absolutely the purest. No lepa from anything. Though Bhagwan Vishnu as Bhutakrit, Bhutabhrit is present in every body mind sense complex, in every upadhi, still he is not tainted by the impurities of the upadhi, by the impurities of the body mind sense complex. Therefore, Putatma, ever pure. Have you not heard this word? Nitya Shuddha. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Atma. How many times we have seen this in our, right from Bhagavad Gita. Nitya Shuddha, ever pure, always pure, never ever needing to be purified. By nature itself, this Bhagwan Vishnu is Bhuta Atma, ever pure, untainted by anything. Nothing can taint Lord Vishnu, Ishvara, Brahman, taintless. That is what it is. Then the next word comes, Paramatma. Please keep the Vishnu Sahasranama book. It's everywhere in every house, there'll be at least one small book will be there of Vishnu Sahasranama. So as we are studying the verses, I'll be chanting the verse, but the words which are coming one after another, if you have the book in front of you, then you know which word is being talked about. And whenever we are talking about any word and its meaning as per Bhagwan Shankaracharya's Bhashya, it's not that I'm interpreting it. I'm depending entirely on Bhagwan Shankara's Bhashya. Whatever he has given, he has interpreted, and the interpretations are many. But to make it simple for us to understand, I'm giving only one of the meanings given by Bhagwan Shankaracharya. Sometimes he writes almost a paragraph of meanings of each word, but that's not necessary for us. Let us see one meaning which helps us in connecting with that Lord Vishnu and seeing that Lord Vishnu as nothing but Brahman. That is the ultimate purpose of our study of this Vishnu Sahasranama Stotra Vichara. Vichara means what? Studying, inquiring into what Vishnu Sahasranama says. Then he says Paramatma. Paramatma means what? That Atma which is limitless. Limitless. What is the meaning of limitless? It is neither limited by time, it is neither limited by space nor by any object. And Bhagwan Shankaracharya gives the interpretation Karya Karana Vilakshana Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Atma. This is the interpretation, the Bhashya given by Bhagwan Shankaracharya. Have we not seen Karya Karana Vilakshana earlier in Vivek Chudamani? Karya Karana Vilakshana Yat Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavayatmani. We have seen that. So, this Vishnu, who is though the cause of the entire world, but still, though Lord Vishnu is the existence behind everything in this world, the consciousness which is imbued in everything in this world, in this universe, still Lord Vishnu is not limited by the Jagat. So, Bhagwan Vishnu, Karya Karana Vilakshana, transcending the cause and effect. Though we say Bhagwan Vishnu is the Karanam of this universe, ultimately, Bhagwan Vishnu is limitless. And therefore, Bhagwan Vishnu is given as Paramatma, the limitless Atma, Karya Karana Vilakshana Atma, that which is the highest, which cannot be transgressed by anything. And here Bhagwan Shankaracharya's favorite word, Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta Atma. Nitya, not limited by time. Shuddha, not afflicted by any kind of mala. Buddha, knowledge swarupa. Jnanaswarupi eva, Jnanam eva, consciousness swarupa. Vishnu here is consciousness swarupa. Mukta, ever free, not bound by anything. It is the upadhi, the jiva who is bound. Paramatma is not bound. Buddha, mukta, ever free. Atma, nitya shuddha buddha mukta svabhavaha. This is Paramatma. Then the 12th word says, Mukta nam paramagatihi. For those who have gone through the Jnana Yoga and those who are sthita prajnas, Mukta Purushas, Sadhyo Mukta Purushas, those who are already free from ignorance. What is the meaning of Mukti? Free from ignorance. So Muktanam, those who are freed from this ignorance, by what? By this knowledge, Atmajnanam or Brahmajnanam. Those who are freed, Muktas, for them, Muktanam Paramagatihi. The ultimate goal or the ultimate abidance or the ultimate thing where there is nothing to go beyond that, which only a Mukta Purusha understands. That I have attained or abiding in this Vishnu Swarupa, which what was said in Katopanishad, if you remember, Sa Parakashta Paragatihi. That is the highest. That is the ultimate. That is the ultimate end. There is no further sadhana required, no further going anywhere. I have reached that ultimate goal. What is that? Vishnoho Paramam Padam. Remember Katopanishad. What is that mukti called as by the Acharya Yamadharmaraja? Vishnoho Paramam Gati. Parama Gati. Is the Vishnu, that is that Parama Gati. That Gati which is the ultimate is of the name Vishnu. So here Vishnu means Muktanam Paramagati. That which is the ultimate abidance, that which is the ultimate goal, beyond which there is nothing that a Mukta Purusha is looking for. There is no more travel. There is no more attaining something. The Jnani has reached home. The Sthita Prajna, the Mukta Purusha, has reached the ultimate end. There is nothing more to be attained. There is nothing more to be reached. That is why it's called as Muktanam Parama Gatihi, the ultimate goal. We can't even call it a sthana. We can't even call it a state. It is just myself. Muktanam Parama Gatihi. That Antaryami, that Vishnu, that Atman is the ultimate. And that is where, as a mumukshu, I'm trying to abide in. That is the goal I'm trying to reach as a mumukshu. With karma yoga, with upasana yoga, with jnana yoga. But for a mukta purusha, the one who is already a mukta purusha, for such a purusha, mukta purusha sthita prajna, this is the ultimate end. Parakashta paragatihi, there is nowhere else to go, no other place. This is what, what I am. This is ultimately my Swarupa. Can I go beyond my Swarupam? I cannot, isn't it? So what is this Vishnu? My ultimate Swarupam, Atma Swarupam. Muktanam Parama Gatihi. That is when the Mukta Purusha understands Jiva, Ishvara, Abheda, sees himself or herself as none other than that Vishnu. That is the ultimate end. That is the Muktanam Paramagati. And what kind of a Gati? What kind of that Muktanam Paramagatihi? What is that Vishnu? Next word, next Nama, the 13th. Avyayaha. How many times we have discussed Avyayaha? Avyayaha means the one who is free from any kind of change, any kind of vikara, any kind of destruction and degeneration. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam puranaha. What Bhagwan Krishna said in the second chapter. Same thing. So the one who has no decline, there are no vikaras, there are no changes, there is no chuti. That's why another name is Achyuta. No chuti, no degeneration, no wasting away, no loss. Avyaya. Vyaya means going away or becoming less vyaya. But here, there is no vyaya, there is no degeneration, there is no loss. Therefore, it is avyaya. Bhagwan Shankaracharya says, Vinasho vikaro na vidyate iti avyaya. There is no vinasha, there is no vikara. There is no destruction, there is no change. Therefore, he is, Vishnu is avyaya. So Vishnu is what now? Brahman, Brahma Swarupa, Avyaya, the one who does not lose, the one who does not change, the one who does not degenerate, where there are no bhava vikaras. That's why Avyaya. Are we not seeing all these as Brahma Swarupam, which we have seen all these days? Avyaya. Even in the last Upanishad, Kaivalya Upanishad, we saw, isn't it? Avyayaha. Kavya means the one which doesn't waste away, the one which is not lost in any. Then the 14th nama comes Purushaha. Purushaha. Again, we have seen it so often. Purushaha means what? Two meanings we have already seen in our other previous Vedanta sessions. Purayati sarvam iti Purushaha. That which is everywhere, that which is the completeness, that which fills everything. The other meaning is what? This Navadvara Pure Dehi. Pura also means the 9-gated body, mind, sense complex. In this 9-gated body, mind, sense complex, Puri Puram Shete. That means the one who's available in this 9-gated Navadvare Pure Dehi. Na kurvan na karayan. We have seen that in Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? That means that Vishnu as Ishvara, as a Niyanta, as Paramatma is available in this Pura. The body is called as the Pura. Okay. What is Puram? Shariram. Bhagwan Shankaracharya says, Puram Shariram Tasmin Shete iti Purushaha. Tasmin, in that Puram, Navadvara Puram, that which is available as the very Antaryami is Vishnu. So, Purushaha. And another one is what? The Purnatva Swarupa, that which fills everything, that which is available in everything as existence consciousness. That is also what is called as Purushaha. There is another name given. Bhaktanam Hridayam Purayati iti Purushaha. When I am doing worship of Vishnu, Lord Vishnu with all his form and name, the way I have done the Dhyana Shloka and the way I am projecting Lord Vishnu as a worshipper, he fills my heart. This Lord Vishnu fills my heart with his Swarupam and with his Bhakti, in whichever form I look at him. So, Bhaktanam Hridayam Purayati iti also Purusha. I think this many meanings should be enough. Let's not go to too many meanings. So, just understand that Purushaha means that consciousness, that Antaryami, Lord Vishnu, available in every Navadvara Puri as this Deha. The 15th word which we have seen here is Sakshi. Again, so common, isn't it? Sakshi Chaitanya Rupena Vartate. Sakshi Rupena means what? Sakshi means as the very witness consciousness. Okay? Swarupa bodhena ikshate pashyati iti sakshi. What is the meaning of that? Swarupa bodhena. By Swarupa bodha, by that very consciousness, which is the Sakshi, which is the very ultimate seer of everything. Ikshate, pashyati, Swarupa bodhena, bodha swarupena ikshate pashyati, iti Sakshi. So Sakshi does not require here, Vishnu as Sakshi does not require any other light to see things like our eyes require. Our eyes require a light to be focused on something to see something. Whereas Chaitanya Atma, Bhagwan Vishnu as Antaryami does not require anything else, any other light. Swarupataya, this Vishnu is light of consciousness and able to light up everything. Therefore, Bhagwan Vishnu is called as Sakshi. We have seen that Sakshi. Sakshi Chaitanya Atma. Isn't it? Jyotisham Jyotihi. In the last Kaivalya Upanishad also we saw. That Lord, that Brahman Atma, Jyotisham Jyotihi. The light of all lights. That is Sakshi. Another Upanishad says, Sakshi, Cheta, Kevalo, Nirgunaha. There is a Upanishad called Shvetashvatara Upanishad, which says, this Atma, this Vishnu, Sakshi, Cheta, Kevalaha, Nirgunaha. Of course, we'll not go into the other word. They will also come here. All those words will come in the future. Nirguna, Cheta, everything. Sakshi means that very light of consciousness. By itself, it is capable of seeing whatever it is. Whatever is there, lights up everything. Then we go to the 16th Nama. Kshetrajnaha. Kshetrajnaha. Again, Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarvakshetreshu. Isn't it? And what does Lord Krishna say in the 13th chapter? Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. What does Lord Krishna say? Kshetra is the whole universe. And the one who knows the Kshetra is called as Kshetrajna. That means what? The knower of Kshetram is Kshetrajna. So here, Bhagwan Vishnu is the ultimate knower, the ultimate consciousness which knows the whole universe. Okay? Kshetram, Shariram, Janati, iti Kshetrajna. Here the Kshetra is taken by Shankaracharya Bhagwan as Shariram. That consciousness which is aware of this body, mind, sense complex. Kshetrajna also means the knower of the whole Kshetra, which includes my body, mind, sense complex. Idam sarvam kshetram. Krishna said, the whole thing that you see around, the 24 tattvas which we talked about, which create this, idam sarvam, everything that you see here is nothing but kshetram. And who am I? Hey Arjuna, I am the kshetrajna in all the kshetras, and I am the knower of all the kshetras. That's why he said, kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu. In all the body, mind, sense complexes, I exist as the consciousness principle. In all the non-living beings in the kshetra outside, I am the very existence in them. That is what here Vishnu also is addressed as the Kshetrajna, the ultimate knower consciousness of this entire Jagat. So, Sakshi and Kshetrajna are almost very similar. The knower of the Kshetra, the seer of the kshetra, the light of consciousness because of which all this is available for one's knowledge. You can call it Sakshi also, you can call it Kshetrajna also. Overlapping meaning is there. Both of them have almost the same meaning, but there are two words, Sakshi and Kshetrajna. Then comes the 17th, that is the last word of the second verse. So we have now 8 words in the second verse. So as I told you, 8 to 10 namas will be there in each, depending upon the length of the word. Depending on the length of the word, we'll have so many namas in each verse. So we are in the second verse, the last nama. Aksharaha. Aksharaha means what? Naksharati iti aksharaha. Immutable, that which does not change. Now, just now we saw what? Avyayaha. So, avyayaha and aksharaha almost have the same meaning. But why akshara has come after kshetrajna? The kshetra changes. Kshetrajna does not change. Kshetra is mutable, whereas kshetrajna is immutable. Kshetra is the sakshyam, whereas kshetrajna is the sakshi. See the connection. So akshara means, that's why he said kshara purusha, akshara purusha. In the 15th chapter, Bhagwan Krishna says, that which ksharati means what? That which changes, and that which constantly changes and gets destroyed is this Jagat. Whereas akshara is that principle, that existence and consciousness, Lord Vishnu, who is unchangeable, immutable. The one unchangeable principle, immutable principle behind the entire ever-changing universe of names and forms. Aksharaha. So Avyayaha, Aksharaha, Sakshi, Kshetrajna, they all almost overlap in their meanings. So what did we see in the second verse? All the words in all the namas, all the names of Lord Vishnu in the second verse are talking about the Swarupa Lakshanam of Lord Vishnu as nothing but Sakshi Chaitanya Atma Brahman. And all these words we have studied any number of times in all those Vedantic works that we have studied. Now comes the next verse, the third verse, the third stotram, which says, Yogo Yoga Vidam Neta Pradhana Purusheshwaraha Narasimha Vapuh Shriman Keshavah Purushottamaha. Here in this verse, the words are little bit mixed up. Here, one or two words are talking about the physical appearance or the manifestation of Lord Vishnu in various forms. At the same time, there are other words also which talk about the Swarupa Lakshanam also. They are all mixed up. Whereas in the second verse, we saw that it was purely the Swarupa Lakshanam of Lord Vishnu as Brahman or Atma. So let us see the 18th word, which is the first word or first name, first nama in the third verse. Yogaha. Yogaha means what? It can be said that the one who can be attained through yoga. What is the meaning of yoga here? What it means is that as a karma yogi also, over a period of time, ultimately what I want to attain is Lord Vishnu or Brahman. As an upasaka also, through the upasana yoga also, ultimately what I want to attain ultimately is nothing but this Lord Vishnu as Brahman. Correct? As an Ekarupa Ishvara Bhakta also, what I want to ultimately attain is Lord Vishnu. As a Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhakta also, that is my ultimate goal that I want to attain. As a Jnana Yogi also, Vishnoho Paramam Padam is my ultimate goal. So, all the sadhanas or the yogas, all the sadhanas through which I can attain. So, the one who is attained through these sadhanas or yoga is also called as yoga. There is another meaning also. Yoga also means acquiring something which I don't have. Yoga. Kshemaha is maintaining and protecting what I have acquired. And Bhagwan Krishna said, Tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. So, as the Lord who will take care of the yoga for a person who is, surrendered to Lord Vishnu, who is in search of Lord Vishnu, for such a mumukshu, for that person, a mumukshu who has surrendered to Lord Vishnu as the ultimate goal and following various sadhanas, Bhagwan Vishnu will take care of that person's yoga and kshema. So, Bhagwan Vishnu can be attained through Karma Yoga, through Upasana Yoga, and ultimately through knowledge. Ultimately, the Karma and Upasana are the stepping stones, but ultimately through Jnanam, Jnana Yoga, he can be attained. So, the one who can be attained with sadhana, like Karma Yoga sadhana, Upasana Yoga sadhana, Jnana Yoga sadhana. Even Ashtanga Yoga you can take as a preliminary disciplining yoga, which is ultimately meant for that particular end. Yoga, the first name in the third verse. Third verse is yoga. Then comes the 19th verse. I think, yeah, yoga. Yeah, 18th we had seen. Now the 19th namaha here is Yoga Vidam Neta. Yoga Vidam Neta. Yoga Vidam Neta means the one who is the main, the leader, or the main one who know yoga. Because Bhagavan is the highest yogi, isn't it? Ishvara, Bhagwan, Krishna also is a yogi. He calls himself a yogi, isn't it? So ultimately, Bhagwan Krishna was a Yogeshwara Krishna, being in this yoga, in this knowledge. So the ultimate yogi is Lord Vishnu. That means the one who's in abiding in this knowledge, ultimate yogi. Therefore, Yoga Vidam Neta. Yoga Vidam Neta means what? He is the par excellent yogi, the leader, the highest, the most exalted among all the yogis as Yogeshwara. Among all the yogis, he is the one who is the most exalted. Yoga Vidam Neta. Neta means what? No, this means the one who is the ultimate. The ultimate yogi, like we say Yogeshwara Krishna, nothing but Yogeshwara. That is. Then here he says then, and not only that, as a Vidam Neta, Lord Vishnu takes care, protects all those mubukshus who are in the various stages of sadhana for ultimately attaining Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. I will take care of them. I will see that they reach me. How many times Lord Krishna has said in the 9th chapter, 7th chapter? He says, I will ultimately help them to come to me. So ultimately, Yoga Vidam Neta means as a leader who takes care of his team of people in his team, So in this, the Yogeshwara, the highest or the most exalted yogi, Lord Vishnu, will protect those who have surrendered to him and who are practicing any form of yoga, these, whatever I have mentioned all this time, ultimately to reach him, ultimately to reach that end, Vishnoho Paramam Padam, to reach that, where he is ultimately going to be the protector of all the yogis who are in the process, who are on their spiritual journey. The 20th Nama is Pradhana Purusheshwaraha. Pradhana means Maya. Pradhana means Avyakta. Pradhana Ishvaraha means he is the Lord of Maya. That's why Bhagwan Krishna says that Maya, keeping Maya under means Swa Mayam Adhishtaya. Keeping my Maya in my Nigraha, I manifest as the entire universe. Correct? So here, Pradhana Purusha Ishvara. What is the meaning of Pradhana? The Avyakta Prakriti or Maya. Pradhana is the name for Maya or Prakriti in the philosophy called as Sankhya philosophy. In Sankhya philosophy, Pradhana is the name given to Prakriti or Maya or Avyakta, which we say. We say Prakriti or Maya or Avyakta. Whereas Sankhya philosophers call the same Maya or Prakriti as Pradhana. So he is the very Lord. Lord Vishnu is the very Lord of Prakriti. Purusha Ishvaraha. He is the very Lord of the Jiva also. Here Purusha means Jiva. Okay, the previous one Purusha means Purayati Sarvam. Okay, Purishete iti Purushaha. That is now here. Pradhana and Purusha here. Purusha means the Jiva. That is what he is the very, Ishvara or the very overlord of Maya, Prakriti and also Jiva. So Shankaracharya Bhagavan says, what is, Prakritir Maya Purushaha Jivaha. Pradhanam means what? He says Pradhanam Prakritir Maya Purushaha Jivaha Tayoho Ishvaraha Pradhana Purusheshwaraha. Pradhana means Maya. Purusha here means the Jiva, and the Lord of both the Pradhana, Maya and Jiva is nothing but Pradhana Purusha Ishvaraha. Pradhana Purusheshwara. Then comes the 21st verse, 21st name, Narasimha Vapuhu. This is the Narasimha avatara form is given. That Lord Vishnu who appeared, who manifested in front of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlada in the form of a man-lion form as an avatara to protect the Shishya. So it is Vishnu's avatara form, Narasimha Vapuhu, whose body is that of a combination of man and lion. I think we'll stop with this. We'll not be able to complete the third verse. We'll do it next time. Narasimha Vapu is a common thing, nothing much to explain in that. So we'll end with this. Om Nandantu Sadhaka Sarve Vinashyantu Vidushakaha Avastha Shambhavi Mestu Prasannostu Guru Sada Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkham Apnuyat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Tat Sat.